Café and Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. And today we talk with Victoria Rader, a possibility coach and founder of YU2SHINE. She's joining us from Washington, D.C. in the United States. So Victoria, if there was one teaching, one message you had to share, what would it be?
Great question, Tom. I think I would start with the message and teaching that has shifted my life and has given me fuel and is continuing to give me fuel daily to help others to transform their life. And that story begins in 1400s in Italy. And in Italy, there is a sculptor, Donatello. He's commissioned to carve a sculpture. He's given a huge piece of marble. He studies the marble and he rejects it after a few months because he finds it has too many veins. Veins, bad marble, non-reliable, rejected. 50 years later, another great sculptor, Michelangelo, out of that same marble, carves the statue of David. That today, 500 years later, still stands in Florence. By the way, in open elements. I took my kids there. It's not in a museum. So here's the message. When his contemporaries asked Michelangelo, how could you possibly carve this incredible statue out of faulty marble? He says, I saw the angel in the marble, and I carved until I set him free. Right there is my message.
Well, I agree with you because what actually happens in real life, we see that. We create the barriers for ourselves, or if the barriers are there, we don't look beyond them, we just look at them.
Absolutely.
And what you just said, I would never know just looking at marble if it was defective or not. What you said, and that it may not be. Defective for one is not defective for another.
Well, and I think additionally to that is the way we look and perceive ourselves is given to us either by our upbringing or through our genetic predisposition or through our cultural predisposition, right? And so there's a big difference between feeling, quote unquote, being blamed for the circumstances of your life and becoming responsible for changing them. So that's all right if you're not responsible that you created them. It's not all right for you to stay where you are.
Well, back to where you are and what you do. You are obviously a multicultural person. And what I have found, I'm in a different place. I'm from the States, living here in Brazil, traveled a lot, so was able to actually see and feel different cultures. Because before we can see all those different cultures, we're back to the thing of having our own barriers.
Absolutely.
Once we get around, and that could be to another country or to get around the barrier, then I can see what you do. You're showing people there are more possibilities.
And, you and I had a little chat just before, and the distinction I think there is that most of the people truly believe that being great, being successful, being happy, being joyful, all of that is possible. They just have this little dirty secret that somehow it's just not possible to them because. And so I take that because and I say, listen, reason is one of the 6 mental faculties. How about instead of living because, you be the cause, right? Reason in favor of possibility.
And then go right to what if.
Love it. What if everything was in your favor?
No, obviously I come from a culture, corporately I worked in product development and business development, so you're always somewhere where other people aren't. And when you are somewhere where other people aren't, they generally tend to look at you and say, well, that isn't possible, right? But what I see, what you show here on your site is peace, purpose, and prosperity. I do feel they come together. First, we have to be at peace with ourselves, right? And understand what our purpose is. We may never find that because, I wake up in the morning and say, why am I here? But I think that's a daily question. But when I ask it, I also say, thanks for being here. I've been given another day. We've been given another day.
You know, Tom, I believe that the application of purpose is a different question. I believe we all have one very simple purpose for a life, and that is to experience life fully and be alive fully. That is why who we are as an energy, as a divine spirit, has chosen this. We chose life to be alive. What a shocker.
Right.
Now, most of us forget that. And so the reason those three are the way they are, not only because they're connected, but because you're absolutely right there in that order. Because once you gain the peace of knowing that you, as you are, can be loved by the source, if you are a faithful person, by creator, by God, as you are, when you find peace through being, your purpose for the day becomes clear. And if you follow the purpose for the day, every day, prosperity is a natural consequence. Now, if you're running around trying to get the money, I have a book, Prosper Me. If you're running around trying to get the money, yes, you can become rich. You just will not be wealthy, or worse yet, you will not have discovered the inner peace of purpose.
That's it. You will not have the purpose. But looking at your site, it's YU2SHINE. And for our listeners, that's YU, the number 2, SHINE. And you show there, so YU2SHINE is light me up, right?
Yes.
So really helping people illuminate themselves?
I believe we're all come into this world with the spark of light, that little angel, that David's angel that is asking to be free. And so I think my job in a nutshell is to go forward to carving a little bit of marble of people. Let me carve a little marble that you release the incredible light that you have come to be.
So it's really looking not only beyond, but looking through, right?
Love that.
How can somebody see the internal parts of marble? But it happens. It happens.
I think it's the whole principle of creation that you got there, because I think we don't believe what we see what we believe. So you've just shifted us to quite a bit of a deeper plane of discussion.
No, but I agree with you. That's true. That's true. You have these songs out there, I'm a believer, but most people aren't, I'm a believer. But great. But back to your site and what you do. What you do is local, planetary. How do you apply your services?
Well, now I'm being limited by the planet. Well, we work universal, we have intercontinental, interdimensional services. We actually are a global company, both localized global company, where a lot of our instructors for Free EFT are global. But in terms of the coaching and programs that we offer, they're all online. And so we interact with people everywhere around the world. And now that the travel bans are being beautifully lifted, we will go back to doing summits and seminars and travel as well. Very
good. So where can our listeners find you?
I think the best way to get acquainted with that little spark of light within them is to go to moneyquiz.me. And that's a funky and fun way to find what emotion, which is energy in motion, is currently blocking you from a possibility of being who you've come to be and to prosper as you have come to be. Find that emotion at moneyquiz.me, and any questions you then have, you can simply follow up.
Very good. So thanks again for being part.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This was great fun indeed, and we're still friends, Tom.
I know, always. And for our listeners, it is Victoria Rader. It's Victoria. The last name is Rader, Rader. Find her on LinkedIn. You also find her best-selling book, Until You Win, on Amazon. Or her site, which is YU2.com. YU2SHINE.com. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at www.focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.